buses during the traffic. Welcome to the Library of Alexandria. Welcome to Alexandria. Today we had a special day with the ALIM, African Youth for Young Masters, our program that was launched by the Library of Alexandria since 2011. Before we start, I would like first to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Riham Abdelhamid, Coordinator of Sustainable Development Study at the Library of Alexandria, Academic Research Sector. Let me ask you, I know that all of you there, you are members of ALIM, but this is his first time to come to the Library of Alexandria. Please raise your hand. Okay, so welcome to the library. I will give you a brief about the Library of Alexandria. I went to the library when it was inaugurated in 2002. It is not just a library, as we are going to see it today. We are going to have a special tour for all the buildings of the library. It is a museum. It has a lot of museum, antiquity, manuscript, متحف السادات. We have a planetarium. It is much more than a building for the book. We have special programs for all for many fields of the community. Let me start by the ALIM. ALIM, it is a program, African League of Young Masters. It is program. It is launched by the library, by the academic research sector in 2011. It aims to open channels of communication between African youth and to bring African students together for knowledge and capacity building, to build capacity for the promotion of the African students and to strengthen the country-to-country relationship. Why we are working on students? Why we are working on youth? Because youth, they have the power of change. Youth, they are the leader of tomorrow. The youth, we have all our African continents, we have problems, we have similar problems, more or less, but there is always opportunity. When we have challenge, there is always an opportunity. Who is capable of the change, to make the change, to draw a new down, to have to change the future, to make it better? Of course, it is the youth. Yes, you agree? You agree? But youth needs to develop their skills, to build their capacity, to be ready for this leadership, to be ready for the change, to be ready to draw a new future and a better future. That's why this problem is here. That's why this program is yours. That's why it is a youth-to-youth program since 2011. And before I'm going to describe what is our program, I want to have a talk from Merer. Where is Merer? It is young students, young coordinator. It is one among your team. And please let me introduce Merer as coordinator of African League of Young Masters in Cairo. And let's please introduce the ALIM and...
Thank you so much, Dr. Riham, for this wonderful introduction. My name is Marol Ashish Aro. I'm a fourth-year medical student in Kasral Ini, Faculty of Medicine, Cairo University. First of all, welcome to ALIM. For those of you who are here for the first times, and for those who have been here with us, welcome to ALIM. Thank you, Dr. Riham. Thanks to the management of the library for always sponsoring these programs. ALIM, as you have seen, stands for African League of Young Masters. That's what we are. Africa is made up of the largest population in Africa are the young people. You are the young mind of Africa. We are the next leaders. I see a collaboration of future leaders within you here. There is a collaboration between doctors, there are engineers, there are a lot of collaboration going on here. So it's our responsibility to make Africa a better place. It's our responsibility to work hard, to collaborate, to make a team for a better Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Merer. The program, it is a weekly program here in Alexandria every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. And we have another mirror image of it in Cairo at Ain Shams University every other Saturday. It is youth from youth, as you can see that there. It is coordinated by youth. It is leader by youth. The speakers are there. They're your university students. The discussions, the attendee, everything. It is a from youth to youth program. The leaders are youth. The speaker are youth. We are here for just to make very small introductions to coordinate. To let the program running, not more. But the main leader, the main activist, they're you. As it is your program. So, very brief about what we had last year. We have organized, for example, sustainable development workshops in Africa. Workshops. It has been. It has gathered. I think it is had gathered about 70 of students from Cairo and Alexandria, and we have discussed what is the problems for the sustainable development. And the challenge that we have. Every year we organize the graduation ceremony for those who are going to be graduated and who are active participants in our programs every year since 2013. Last year it was our 10th graduation ceremony. We are here as to build your capacity, so we are trying to make always meetings with Egyptian minister, with an Egyptian expert. For example, Dr. Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, he was, at this time, he was the former minister of higher education. We had Dr. Hisham Al-Askari, he is the deputy director, president of Egyptian Space Authority. We had the meeting with Her Excellence Minister of Environment. As you can see, that the leaders the leaders and the speakers and the main runner of the program were yourself. And we had organized last October a very nice climate change and very nice workshops about adaptation to climate change in Africa, because as you know that Egypt was the organizers of the COP, Conference of Parties, last November, and we wanted to know what are the visions of the young African for adaptation of climate change. The climate change main problem in Africa is adaptation. It is not medication. As you know that the world continent emissions is 3.6, so it is almost zero, it is almost nothing. But our main problem is the adaptation to climate change. What we need to adapt to climate change in agriculture, in education, in health, and it was an open discussions with the African students that attended this workshop. It was followed by recycling workshops for recycling from plastic waste to prepare bags and mobile bags. And my question for you, I'm sure that you have heard about sustainable development. Anyone, this is first time to hear about sustainable development? What is sustainable development? Please raise your hand. What is sustainable development? What is the difference between sustainable development and a development? Let's think together. And volunteer, yes, please. Mike. Yes, please.
Okay. The difference between sustainable development and development. Sustainable development is the development in which you are developing maybe in form of infrastructure, but you are not damaging the environment. So you do the development by taking care of the thing or on the thing that can cause a negative effect on the environment. But normal development, you can do what you like. So it has no guideline. That's according to my understanding.
Thank you. Any other volunteer? Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I guess I will be in congruent with my colleagues. Sustainable development should be a development that benefited the current generation or today and does not harm the future. This is what I can hard on.
I've mentioned that sustainable development is, So it is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. When I'm doing development, but I'm looking for the future generation. And future generation, can be the next 20 to 30 years. So to make it simple, that I will not take all the natural resources, I will not use all the natural resources and then leave the future generations or the futures who are going to be after us, that without being able to use to meet that needs, okay? And to have sustainable development, there are 3 pillars: social, environment, and economy. The 3 pillars, these 3 pillars, when they are meet together, here, as you can see, the small part between the 3, economy, environment, and social community, when the 3 are meeting here, so at this point, there is sustainable development. If I have an economy development only, it is an economy development. It is not a sustainable development. Environmental development is another thing. Social community development is another thing. But when the 3 pillars of the sustainable developments are here, they're working on this 3 pillar, and the 3 are here, this is the sustainable development. I can say that this is sustainable development, especially if it can meet the future generation needs. Okay? It is very clear? Any questions? Okay? So, the United Nations by December 2015 has met, and they have decided to put 17 goals for the sustainable development to be accomplished by 2030. Anyone has here SDGs, there to sustainable development goals. There are 17 goals. Anyone can tell me any of these goals? Any hands? Yes, please.
Okay, I think one of the 17 goals is clean water. We have better education. We have, I think one of them is food security of food. And the rest will be said.
I think I can add on. The other one is zero to hunger, and gender equality, where both males and female can participate, and no poverty. Yeah.
We have a light underwater. We have a pre-education. We have a poverty, like my friend mentioned. We have yeah, I think that is enough.
Abdul Karim Sensamba from Uganda. I think most importantly that we're all forgetting is good well-being and health. Good well-being and health.
Yes, I will add some. Like my friend mentioned life underwater. There is also life on earth, life on land, I mean. And there is partnership for the goals. No hunger, no poverty, climate action.
Yes, climate action.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gender equality.
Yeah.
And clean water and clean energy. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, that's very good.
I will add on political stability in Africa. I will also add on, okay, that is enough.
There is a song for...
My name is Bola Kesh. I will add on, I think he has mentioned it, but not clearly. It is peace and stability. There must be peace. The last one should be partnership for the development of goals.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Thanks.
The United Nations is an organization with goals of peace and sustainable development around the world. Their mission is huge, but we're breaking it down in 2 minutes. 17 sustainable development goals. Let's get to them, cause the more you know. Look, in some corners of the world today, people are living on $1 a day. Hey, that's not how it ought to be. So go 1, eliminate poverty, and go 2, root out hunger across the globe. There's 800 million people hungry if you want to know. Number 3 is health and well-being, and getting people the health care that they need in. Learning in school are the hard to go for. Education opens up minds and doors. Goal number 5 is empower girls and women so they can have the same rights that men are given. Number 6, people need water that's clean. Poor sanitation can spread disease. Carbon-free energy is goal number 7. And how to achieve it is a question that's pressing. But if we put our minds together and work hard, we can find a solution, I'm guessing. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. Now imagine that you work all day for no pay. Economic growth and decent work is goal 8. Goal number 9 is to foster innovation in infrastructure and industrialization. Goal number 10, inequality reduction. 11 is sustainable city construction. 12, well, that's sustainable consumption. So what we use matches up with production. Goal 13 calls for urgent action to combat climate change, cause we know it's happening. 14, protect life under seas. 15, protect life on land. Goal 16 is for peace and justice all over the planet. They're in high demand. And the final goal, number 17, is the critical factor, the heart of the machine. It's the strength in the way we achieve these goals of sustainable development around the globe. Yo, 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it.
Well, as you have seen that there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, for a better life for all the continents, for all the globe. As we have mentioned, I have mentioned no poverty, no hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable energy, economic growth, industry innovations, and infrastructure. It is number 9. You know what? Every time when I stopped at this goal, innovations and it is industry innovations and infrastructure. When we say innovation, who is responsible of the innovation? Yes. That's why this program is here. Innovation is in the youth. That's why I told you that you are the actor of the change. You are the actors of the change. The change is yours because you are the most capable part of the society that have the ability to innovate, to create better opportunity, to create new ideas for all the challenges that we have. Number 10, we have reduced inequality. Number 11, sustainable communities and cities. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Responsible to meet the needs of the future generations, please. And number 13, climate action, the global challenge that we have, and until now I don't think that we have a clear strategy for this challenge. Number 14, protection life underwater, and number 15, on the land. 16, peace, justice, and 17, partnership for the goals. Partnerships of all, partnerships of everyone. Partnership of government, international organization, governmentals, governments, and persons and citizenship. Okay? So these 17 goals, if they are accomplished by 2030, I think that we can ensure a better life. Of course, there are a lot of challenges to have it. I don't know if you can, until now, this SDGs didn't change. There is no, all the countries has promised to be able to do their best to be able to accomplish them by 2030, to fulfill them by 2030. One, besides that innovation is used, we have another opportunity here in Africa. If you have a look at this slides, you can see that the world population will be about 8 billion persons by November 2022, and will be 8.6 billion in 2030. And of course, this means we need more resources, more food, more water, more energy, and more. It is a big challenge for this 8.6 billion. But if you have a look at the median of age of the populations here, what we can see? Youngest. This is an asset. Africa is the youngest continent. This is a big asset. This is you. This is, by the way, this is photo of the graduation that we had here in the same hall last year, I think. Okay? Youngest, we have a lot of problems, as we have a lot of challenges as we are going to see in this slide. We have a lot of future of challenge for meeting the needs for the growing population. We have housing problem, we have transportation problem, we have food and water insecurity problem, we have energy system and other infrastructure problem, have unemployment, basic service, education, healthcare, climate change, which is a major global challenge, and until now there is no clear strategy for it. This is a lot of challenge. You can say that no hope, I don't think, but there is always an opportunity. When we have challenge, we have opportunity. And as you can see from the world population, that Africa, it is the youngest continent, sorry. You are its assets. This is youth, innovations, leadership, changing the future, draw a better future. Agree? You agree with me? Okay? And to be able to make all the change, youth needs to be well educated. They should have a good building to have good. They should have different capacity, different skills. We have to work on development their skills to build their capacity. And always we have a problem in our education, in our system, in our continent. But now with the internet, there are a lot of opportunity for whom wants to change, for who wants to gain new skills, for whom wants to help and work on himself or herself, of course. We have online learning. There are a lot of universities and a lot of websites for self-learning. And to make it easy also, for your informations, the two arms of the future, they are artificial intelligence and genetics. Genetics in everything, in health, in agriculture, in everything. And artificial intelligence. This is the two arms of the future. Who wants to build his capacity, who wants to gain new knowledge. There are a lot of websites for training and learning. And besides our university and what we have in our countries. Okay? So the World Economic Forums have listed that there are top 10 skills that should be gained for the future market. Okay? And they mentioned that 50% of the employee will need to reskilling their skills by 2025, okay, as adaptations for the technology. Who have heard about ChatGPT? ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is an AI tool that is actually delivered nearly. It's challenging Google, but sadly yesterday Google came up with another challenge too. It's a very great, you just talk onto it and it gives you anything you want to research online. Very grateful. If one of you, like I guess many of you are to be graduating this year, if you had a graduation project, try to use that. Right now, it's not working here in our region. But in case you got a friend outside, like in the US primarily, you can just try to borrow an email or they do you an email and then you enter it. You're gonna be great. Thank you. That's a little right now.
ChatGPT is artificial intelligence. It's a new application that was created. It can solve any problem that Google cannot solve in just 3 seconds. For example, if you want to do research, any case you type there, it can give you very big answer, very accurate in just 3 seconds. So in case you are doing your research, you can use ChatGPT. It's very fast and very reliable. It's very good artificial intelligence that youth should get involved to know about it and use it for future project or for future anything you can do about it. Thank you so much. It is available here. I have it in my phone. I have artificial intelligence for ChatGPT. I use it sometime. Thank you.
So to make, I want to add one point because I think that many of you are going to say, oh, okay, so any essay will need it for me, any research, any thesis, anything that will be asked in my university, it can be done by ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, I'm going to make it in 3 seconds just to rename it. No, yes, this is what we can. But I think that you are going to lose all the capability that you have for thinking, for analytical thinking, for educations, for learning new skills. So please take care of that. And don't say that, oh, but the robotics and artificial intelligence is going to replace the human. No, no, there are still other jobs that we have to create, and we have to build our capacity for that. So please, it is, we can say that it is like double weapons. So please take care of that. But this program is open, these models or this platform, it is an open access. You know that there are many companies have worked together. It is a teamwork program for your information. Many companies are working together to develop this ChatGPT, and it is an open access now. It is not in our countries, but it is an open access in other countries. So take care, please. You should know what is the future need, what is the market of the future is looking for. Take care of that, and to be able that we have to reskill. That's why the World Economic Forum has said that we need to reskill ours. We need to reskill our skills. There are 10 skills that are needed by 2050, by 2025, and there are skills that such as learning, resilience, self-tolerance, and flexibility to respond to the future's jobs and the future market. Take care of this point. Okay? And don't say, okay, the machines is going to replace the human. No, never, never. There are other jobs that need it, and but it needs other skills, reskilling. It is clear, please? Okay? So, I have another video. Let's show you how the world have changed, how the brands have changed from 2000s to 2022. Let's see this video to see how the brands have changed. There's always, yes.
Fast.
Jumping so fast. We're jumping so fast. Who has disappeared? Who is jumping also now? Who is jumping? Who is jumping? So fast. In 1 year. In 1 year. The change is very fast. Who is jumping? Who is jumping? Amazon. Yes. Jumping, 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 jumping. Jumping so fast. Well, you have seen how the world has changed very fast. You have seen how the world has changed very fast. In no time, in 20 years, there are a lot of brands that have been disappeared and others have been replaced. For example, I remember that there is Nokia Mobile. I don't know, you know the Nokia Mobile? Who have used Nokia Mobile when you are young? Nokia Mobile, it is a wow brand. And then it has been disappeared. You have still one market? That's great. So the market is changing. The future is changing very, very, very fast. It is always, we have, yes, as I told you that I have mentioned many challenges that we have, but always there is opportunity. And youth have the ability to take this opportunity and to make the change. And as the bigger the change, the bigger opportunity we have. And we can always change. We have to rebuild the future. We have to draw on the future. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we use when they are created. We are changing the world with technology. We should have great opportunity to work together to change the future, to be part of this future. Okay? This program is yours. Its main target is that you are the youth. You are number 9 in the innovation. You are the leaders. You are the youngest continent. Africa is the youngest continent. Due to you, you are an asset. So please, but work on yourself. Don't waste your time. Let's work together. Let's build new skills, develop our skills, and build our capacities. And we are always here for you. Okay? Thank you. Any questions or comments? Any questions? Well, to save our times, let me introduce today. It is our pleasure to have Mrs. Shama Masoud. We have Ms. Shama Masoud is from initiative Haya Karim. Haya Karim in Egypt means better life. It is an initiative that have been launched in
2019.
Sorry?
2019,
and it targets a lot of villages. And last November, in COP of climate change, COP 27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, they have been asked from the Egyptian government to launch this initiative in African countries. And it is our pleasure to have Mrs. Shama today with us to discuss and to give us a brief about this initiative. So, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that I'm here today explaining Haya Karima National Project. My name is Shana Masoud. I'm the Foreign International Relations Director at Haya Karima Foundation. First of all, I would like to thank Library of Alexandria that they are hosting us today to explain Haya Karima National Project. And in order to begin, first, I would like to ask you a question, and please help me and participate with me concerning this, because it would be our pleasure that you would be our ambassadors all over Africa in order to spread the concept and the ideology of Haya Karima National Project. So, I would like to ask you a question and to begin by asking what is meant to have a decent life?
Thank you, and I would say it's a very beautiful initiative. I can really advocate for it. What it means for a decent life should be like a life that you are not judged and you're not having a fear or a threat by the ideas and the opinion of the others. And as well, while you're doing what you want to do, you have to make sure that you're not a threat to the others. You're not going against the values in the wrong way. That's how I perceived it. Thank you.
Thank you. According to my understanding, I understand better life in different perspectives, and as below. First of all, having a better life, security itself, it's better life. Health itself also is better life. Some of us from different backgrounds, transformation from a bad situation through counseling itself is a better life. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much. And having a better life is very important. You will think of changing yourself, you will change your surrounding, you will change the world at large. It is very important to have a positive thinking. So the world needs us, and if the world needs us, we need to have a better life, a life that will make you like giving a change to the world. That is it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think having a decent life, like all your needs being catered for, your basic needs, which is food, health, shelter, so that's having a decent life.
Thank you. According to me, it's also good that you can give yourself a chance that you can do it better. So it's only you who can make it better, not anybody. When you work on yourself, everything is going to be fine. Thank you.
So thank you so much for your participation. Yeah, I'm gonna, okay.
So anyway, I know it in a good life, so the human being is started from zero until when you see it. So anyway, like education is also a better life. You see it, where it's going on, for what you are won, or something when you see it in outside, just you need to be with yours also. That's why I knew in my mind on everybody. So anyway, everybody's know what is going on in their life. So when you see that something is beauty, it will be a great for you also. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. To me, I would understand this as improving living conditions, especially for children and the elderly or the aged. But also it contains a lot of things that may include religion or culture, as we see in Africa. We've got a lot of traditions, culture, maybe a Muslim, maybe a Christian, or the other tradition. But very, very important is to improve the living condition of children, mothers, and elderly. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the chance. I think having a decent life is having a life with the basic needs of life, as mentioned earlier, and having a life that you're contented with. Like, if you're not contented with your life, if you're missing something, I think you might not feel like you have a decent life. Thanks.
So thank you so much for your participation. I would like you to just give me a glimpse. I will give you now a glimpse on how High Karima National Project is actually changing the lives of over and almost 60 million Egyptian citizens without stripping away their real identity, while providing them with a multidimensional change and development. So I will show you that video. It's a real footage, by the way. We have begun the project since 2019, and we are still working on improving the rural communities among Egypt's jurisdiction.
تصوروا إن إحنا في مصر إن شاء الله خلال ال3 سنوات القادمة دول إن إحنا نقدر نحول حياة 58 مليون مصري.
من 1948 والعالم بيتكلم لغة حقوق الإنسان، وطول السنين والعالم بيسأل إيه أكتر حق بيخلي كل واحد فينا إنسان؟ قدرتنا على تحديد مصيرنا بتتوقف على إننا نعيش بأمان في أحسن صحة، وعندنا علم ووعي بيحركوا تصرفاتنا في الاتجاه الصح. توفير احتياجاتنا الأساسية هي الضامن لعيشتنا بحرية، وده أصل كونك إنسان، ده أصل حياة كريمة. الأهم من إنك تحلم إنك تكون جريء وإنت بترسم أحلامك. وحياة كريمة مشروع بيأكد قد إيه كان عندنا الجرأة وإحنا بنحلم، لأن لأول مرة مشروع يكون هدفه إن التنمية توصل لأكتر من نص سكان مصر. أكبر مشروع تنموي في تاريخ مصر الحديث وأكثرها إنسانية. مشروع مصري 100% بدأ بفكرة شباب بيحلم ببكرة. فكرته اترجمت لمبادرة رئاسية تم إطلاقها بتكليف السيد الرئيس في 2019، وبعقول مصرية وبإيدين شباب مصر اتحولت المبادرة لمشروع قومي، وبنجاحه أصبح نموذج يحتذى به.
هندخل على مراكز كاملة بالقرى اللي موجودة فيها بتوابعها، عشان لما نخرج منها بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى ما يبقاش فيها حاجة ناقصة خلاص. المفروض إن احنا عاملين برنامج حياة كريمة دوم، هنعمل فيه إيه؟ هنعمل فيه الصرف الصحي، هنراجع المية الشرب ونطمن ولا تمام، هنراجع الكهرباء ونطمن ولا تمام، هنراجع البيوت اللي هي صعبة نحسنها، هنعمل الطرق، هنبطل الترع، هندخل الغاز، هندخل الاتصالات. الوعد ده لكم مش مني، من الدولة المصرية.
القضاء على الفقر هدف بيتكامل مع أهداف التنمية المستدامة، وبنحققه بوضع أحلام أهالي الريف في أول الخطة. مشروعات المبادرة ركزت على توفير سكن كريم لائق وآدمي، وتوفير الخدمات الصحية والتعليمية، وخلق بيئة عمل مناسبة لكل الأيدي العاملة، كلها متطلبات الحياة الأساسية، وهي حقوق الإنسان اللي بتسعى رؤية مصر 2030 لتحقيقها، والمتوافقة مع أهداف منظمة الأمم المتحدة، واللي أدرجت حياة كريمة ضمن سجل منصة الشراكات من أجل تحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة. ده مش كلام على ورق. زمان الفرق كان واضح بين الريف والحضر، لكن دلوقتي قضينا على أشكال كتيرة للفقر، وده نتيجة شغل ومجهود لتنفيذ خطة مدروسة بدقة بنيناها على علم ومعلومات وإحصائيات جمعناها من المؤسسات، وبحث ميداني عمله فريقنا اللي وصل عدده ل21,000 متطوع.
أنا فخورة إني بشتغل في حياة كريمة.
أنا فخورة إن أنا جزء من مبادرة حياة كريمة.
أنا فخورة إن أنا بشتغل في حياة كريمة وبساعد أهالينا.
أنا فخورة إن أنا متطوعة وجزء من مبادرة حياة كريمة.
أنا فخور إن في حياة كريمة وإن إحنا بندخل السرور على أهالينا.
أنا فخور جدا كوني سبب في إدخال الفرح لأهالينا، فخور أكتر كوني جزء من مبادرة حياة كريمة.
والله حياة كريمة دي اسم على مسمى. المجموعة دي مجموعة بقول لك زي مثل خلية النحل.
خطة إعادة بناء شاملة لتحقيق تنمية وطفرة اقتصادية واجتماعية وثقافية لكل فئات المجتمع الريفي، الأسر الأكثر احتياجاً، كبار السن، كل امرأة معيلة، والشباب اللي بيدور على لقمة العيش. وخطتنا ما نسيتش الأطفال وأبناء مصر القادرون باختلاف. بدأنا بتدخل سريع للقرى الأكثر احتياجاً اللي فيها نسب الفقر عدت 70%. المرحلة التجريبية استهدفت 375 قرية بإجمالي مستفيدين عددهم 4.5 مليون مصري، والمرحلة الأولى اللي بتتنفذ دلوقتي هدفها 1436 قرية داخل 53 مركز على مستوى 20 محافظة بإجمالي مستفيدين حوالي 18.5 مليون مستفيد. الكل اتفق على خلق بيئة متكاملة لبناء المواطن، علشان كده حياة كريمة ما كانتش مجرد بنى بيوت. حياة كريمة بتنفذ مجتمع متكامل يساعد على تكوين شخصية إنسان سوي ينتمي لبلده وبيحميه من التعرض لأفكار التطرف، وده لأن مكان مناسب للحياة بأمان يساوي مواطن عارف مقدرات بلده وحاسس إن بلده بتقدره. بدأنا بسكن كريم، لكننا في نفس الوقت طورنا البنية التحتية، ولأن من غير الصحة صعب نحس بقيمة التطوير، رفعنا كفاءة الوحدات الصحية وعملنا قوافل طبية تطمن على صحة أهالينا وتعمل عمليات جراحية لكل المستحقين. وعلشان مهمة إعداد جيل واعي على نفس درجة الأهمية، طورنا المدارس وبنسعى لمحو الأمية الرقمية، وبنوفر خدمات ثقافية ببناء المكتبات في كل قرية مصرية. اهتمنا كمان بمحور التأهيل والتدريب، ووفرنا تدريب على صنع الحرف لشباب وستات الريف ولذوي الهمم، لأننا مؤمنين بأنهم قادرون باختلافهم على تحقيق المعجزات. اشتركنا في عمل مشروعات صغيرة ومتناهية الصغر، ووسط كل المشروعات منسناش نهتم بمراكز الشباب وبكل نشاط لحماية البيئة والحفاظ عليها. ومع كل طوبة بنيناها اتمدت لنا 100 إيد تساعد. نفذنا عدد من المبادرات وقت كورونا، حماية ورد الجميل والتصالح حياة، وكل واحدة فيهم كانت بتحط حلول وتسهل على أهالينا الحياة في وقت صعب علينا كلنا. كنا وقت سيول أسوان أول إيد تسند أهلنا. بنينا البيوت المتضررة وشكلنا قوافل مساعدات لأهل أسوان.
حينما وقعت هذه السيول في قريتنا الحبيبة ظننت أن القيامة قامت. على المنظر مهيب جدا، كنا في ذهول، الأطفال يجروا من هنا والحريم تجري من هنا، وكنا في كرب.
من الصعيد للوادي للدلتا وفي شرق وغرب مصر، حياة كريمة بتعيد رسم خريطة بلدنا من تاني، إصلاح الإنسان المصري وتوفير حقوقه بالشكل اللي يعيشه بكرامة هو الهدف الكبير. حققنا الكتير وما فاضلش إلا القليل. الإنجاز مش جديد علينا، وهنكمل لحد ما نحقق معجزات.
Okay, so I think the video now displayed briefly what is حياة كريمة National Project. The whole concept today is that we need to spread the same ideology of High Karima National Project in all African states, because everyone deserves better life and everyone deserves that type of decent life. So, first of all, I'm going to ask a question. What is meant by decent life and what is meant by High Karima National Project? It's one of the largest development projects in rural communities that mainly focuses upon eradicating poverty in addition to the investing in human development. Plus, one of the most important things is reviving the concept of social responsibility. And this is why we are here today. The concept of social responsibility is increasing the volunteers all around the globe in order to participate and to have an impact upon the surrounding community environment. So, what makes this project different compared to the other projects that have been formulated in order to eradicate poverty? It is the unification of efforts, starting from state institutions, non-governmental organizations, private and public sectors, and also the private sectors, and most importantly are the youth volunteers. So when we're going to talk about what is meant by High Karima and why High Karima it means, and it's actually equal the human rights concept, we're going to be stating that before the pandemic corona disease, first of all, it proved to the world that the human rights concept is not just restricted upon the freedom of expression nor blogging on social media platforms, and that the human rights notion is the true essence of High Karima. High Karima here, it means decent life, decent job opportunities, equal opportunities, gender equality, better education, and better healthcare systems provided to all the beneficiaries. So that makes us reach to the point that High Karima National Project, it's not just an initiative. It's actually an ideology that can be implemented and spread all over the African nation states, and that could be implemented in order to have a decent, better life for all the Africans. So if you're going to talk about the strategic objective of the project itself, High Karima seeks to provide a multidimensional change and development to almost 60 million Egyptian citizens, and as we have said, without stripping away the real identity, of course. And those 60 million Egyptian citizens are actually living in 4,584 villages. We have currently finished the first phase of the project itself, targeting 1,477 villages, and we are currently at the beginning of the second phase of this project within 20 governorates, where the targeted segments are the following: most impoverished families, breadwinner women, children and orphans, elderly people, people who are seeking job opportunities, and also people with disabilities. One of the most important things that I would like to tell you is that those villages have been chosen based upon certain criteria. And most importantly is the poverty rate, the illiteracy rate, the percentage of families that are being deprived from basic essential needs, in addition to the percentage of population. So if we're going to talk about the most important pillars within the project itself, we will be starting with infrastructure requirements, economic empowering sector, in addition to the social intervention, human development, and decent housing pillar. Those are the services that are being provided within the project itself. We mainly focus upon providing the infrastructure requirements for youth and sports, as we have been displaying within the video itself, as you have seen, about the youth centers that are being provided in order to advocate the concept of sports in villages, in addition to improving and enhancing the infrastructure requirements in education. And that's not everything. We also care about the type of education being provided to the citizens as well. How is that happening? Is by promoting the concept of digital literacy. And this is highly important since we have been talking about the concept of sustainability and evolution. At the time being, the concept of technological advancement is highly important and it's highly required in order to make those people updated and being capable of sustaining the services that are being provided to them. So if we're going to talk about the social intervention and human development pillar, This mainly focuses and is being established through cultural campaigns and awareness campaigns, such as the road shows or the street plays, that mainly focus upon providing plays to the people in order to combat the falsified adopted norms within those villages, such as female genital mutilation and child labor and child marriage. So in order to address people and to accept the concept of combating those falsified norms, we would like to establish those ideas through street shows that are being played, in which the people or the audience are imagining themselves they are the heroes of the story. So it's up to you to choose which scenario you would like to have and the consequences of choosing those falsified adopted norms. When it comes to the decent housing sector, it is mainly focusing upon providing the services revolving around all the house's requirements, starting from providing electricity, water connections, in addition to furnishing houses, building roofs, and that's not everything. Some of the houses, they need to be fully demolished and rebuilt all over again because they are no longer safe for the persons or the people who are actually living inside it. In addition to that part, if you're going to talk about how do we help in the human development concept, we provide, beside the decent housing section or sector, is that we care about bridal preparations. We provide brides with furnishing equipments, and we also care about providing medical convoys to the citizens in addition to paying their debts. Plus the establishing literacy programs, as we have said, and especially the part which is related to digital literacy. And those are real footage from the villages themselves, showing how we are actually taking care of their houses and formulating an evolution. So, when it comes to the economic empowering sector, which is highly essential and highly important, it focuses upon providing training and job opportunities to youth in order to prepare them and to make them ready for the marketplace. And you can see this economic empowering sector, it's divided into three main aspects. We focus upon micro projects, small projects, and medium projects as well. And those are real footage of the micro projects that have been provided to the citizen within the most impoverished families in the rural communities. And last but not least, the infrastructural pillar that focuses on providing telecommunication and internet services in addition to agricultural complexes, lining of canals, providing natural gas, paving roads to ease transportation and electricity, and providing electricity and lighting poles within those villages. So, again, if we're going to talk about the project, Hayya Karima National Project, that we would like to spread it all over Africa, because Africa deserves to be one of the most prosperous continents all over the world. First of all, we're going to say that that project, it has been part of the UN partnership platform because it actually fulfills the 17 UN SDGs. As you can see here, first of all, the first UN SDG goal, which says no poverty, is being converged or reflected in the decent housing and humanitarian intervention pillar that is underlying within the project Hayya Karima. In addition to the zero hunger, it's reflected in the social development and humanitarian aid pillars, clean and water sanitation infrastructure pillar, decent work and economic growth in the economic empowering pillar. We can keep going. Every single UN SDG goal is being reflected in every single pillar that is under the auspices of such project. Finally, I would like to say, and we are proud that such project, it is actually fulfilling what is known by the SMART criteria. What is SMART criteria? The project itself, it has a time-bounded or time frame. The project, its own goals are achievable, have specific goals, and those goals are also measurable and based on available resources, in addition that they actually lead to the implementation of the 2030 Development Agenda. So thank you again, and feel free if you have any questions, because the whole concept of today's session is that how could we get ideas as you could be considered as Hayya Karima ambassadors in your country as well, and how could we actually spread this initiative all over the African continent? Thank you so much.
ambassadors for Haya Karima, for decent life, and we need your idea. You are here for that. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for enlightening us with this treatise presentation. This is my second time to attend Haya Karima because I attend. There was a workshop I attended in Sharm el-Sheikh in November. It was rich in ideas. As you mentioned, that we are here to adapt or replicate how we could replicate this into our country or our different country in other African states. So this organization is a governmental organization or is a national organization. If I'm not mistaken, it's sponsored by the government. My question is like, what is the criteria that we can apply so that it can be implemented in our different countries in Africa? What are the policies that can be possible to do this? Thank you.
So you're asking about the criteria for again, could you repeat your question? The criteria for what? Project possible in your countries. Okay. So again, when I was talking about the criteria that are being chosen in our country here in Egypt, we have chosen those villages and we have divided them into 3 phases. The first phase is the intervention in the most impoverished villages, which those villages have poverty more than 70%, While for the second phase, the poverty rate is between 50 and less, while the last phase, which is the third phase of the project, it's going to be less than 30% poverty rate. What we need to do here, and what I would like to explain to you, that now we are having more than 36,000 volunteers on ground. Those volunteers on ground, they are actually engaging in all the initiatives that are being implemented in Haya Karima National Project. What would we like you to have is that we are currently trying to establish this concept in all the African states. So, in order to do that, first, we need to get you guys to come with us within field visits in the villages themselves in order to experience the whole thing in real life, not just a presentation nor a video. You need to be a part of this process. You need to understand what are those type of services that are actually being provided to those citizens in order to have a decent and better life. So, the only thing that you can actually learn from this is through what is known by community-based learning. Is that it's not just theoretically, we have to do field visits for you, even if you're going to divide you into into small groups, so that each person would actually be capable of participating in those initiatives in order to understand what does Haya Karima National Project actually does on ground to the beneficiaries, starting from empowering women and teaching them and making them capable and being accepted in fulfilling the marketplace, in addition to educating people and supporting even people with disabilities and teaching those who are disabled how to use digital platforms and to even have micro projects and teaching them how they could actually start branding their projects on digital platforms to be sold and to have an income and revenue. So again, if you want to know how can this be established, first, it's going to be through the community-based learning, is that we are going to take you to field visits, to be our participants and volunteers, to see how those aspects and services are actually being provided to the villagers on ground, so that you might learn your own experience, so that and we can actually formulate a new agenda, having the same objectives, fulfilling the 17 UN SDGs, so that you can actually implement the same concept. It's all about the concept. It's all about the ideology. It doesn't have to be exactly the same because each country has its own economic, social, and political conditions. And even your country could have different requirements than here in Egypt. But yet, we all having the same objective, which is decent life. So from where you could get this idea is by your participation with us on ground. Thank you.
Can I ask you if there is any way of communication, if any one of them have proposal, have idea, have, yes, so if you can mention any email, any...
Yes. We'll be sharing with you
if you can, yes, if you can, website or contact persons that, so if you have any idea about what has been presented now, if you have a proposal, if you have any idea, you are on the ground, yeah, and to be in contact with you directly, please. Okay?
I would also like to add that, have anyone participated in the World Youth Forum? Okay, so the World Youth Forum is considered as a platform that connecting all youth from different countries globally, okay, in order to state their ideas in every single cause. So the concept here that we would like to have the same concept as the World Youth Forum is that we would like to change your ideas into reality, because your ideas, your thoughts and your beliefs about certain initiatives could come into reality and could actually help people to have a better life. So that's the whole concept. We are actually working and providing seminars to students in different universities, and we take such academic research, their academic research, and turn them into real projects. So your ideas could actually turn into a real project that being implemented on ground and changing people's lives. So anyone having any other questions?
Thank you very much. You pointed much on improving people's living conditions. But I would, as the Decent Life Initiative, I heard you talk about more on elderly children and providing surgeries, Medicare, and other economic opportunities, but though also supporting the orphaned girl child to get married. So I would like to know more about, or could you point more on supporting the orphaned child or orphaned girl child to get married? And why do you stick on the orphan getting married?
Okay, so if you're mainly focusing upon orphans, those are considered one of our top priority beneficiaries that we are seeking to provide help for them. Why is that? Because first of all, orphan doesn't mean that you're not having both parents, by the way. But because of the poverty, they leave them in the streets. Our role here as Hayya Karima Foundation and as Hayya Karima National Project is to help those people to have a decent life by all means. Starting from having a decent, like raising community. It's like an orphan houses. We're making sure that those people are treated well. In addition to this part, we care about teaching them by all means, and plus we are helping them to formulate their own micro projects in order to have a source of income. In addition to this part, we help them to formulate a certain huge ceremony, which is a marriage, ceremony. It's called Yudum al-Farh. Yudum al-Farh, it's a kind of an initiative, focuses upon formulating huge bridal marriages for those females and providing them with furnishing equipments like refrigerator, TV, for instance, washing machine, the basic equipments to have a decent house. So that's what we do to support those females. First of all, by providing them with micro projects. Second is by preparing them to get married, because some of them, they are being incapable financially to get married, and this is our part here to interfere. In addition to this part is that making sure that those orphan houses are actually providing them a healthy living way. So let me tell you something before this part. Equipping those females is not the most important aspect. One of the most important things that we care about is providing them with sessions on how to have a healthy marriage. And we do this with a lot of entities, by the way, because they are not underage, of course, because we do not accept that. I mean, they are with the normal age of getting married, but most of them, they don't have a mentor. They don't have someone to guide them. So our role here is to provide the right entities, to provide sessions for those females to know how to actually run a whole entire house and to have a stable, mentally healthy, stable family. So this is how we support orphans during Hayya Karima National Project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've actually liked the initiative so much. I would like to say congratulations to Egypt. You're really doing great. I think for this initiative to come to pass, you had like great support from the government. So, like as youth, me personally, I would like to be a volunteer, but you've mentioned earlier that it is a national-based initiative, right? Which means it's only for Egyptians per now. So, like, I would like to be part if, like, future chances are there. And I would also, like, want to say that, do you, like, talk to, like, other governments? Like, Egypt is now, I think, heading African Union, right? So it's upon the government to come up with such, and I'm very sure they're very passionate youth about their countries. Like I've seen in the videos, there are very many who volunteered and they're doing it with a lot of love. So if the government really provides such, I believe all the youth will participate. So I think we need the government to work on this. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so to answer your part, I would like to tell you that, first of all, the concept of spreading the Hayya Karima National Project in Africa, it was based upon His Excellency the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi recommendation. So it was the willingness of the government, the Egyptian government, that we need to implement Hayya Karima in all African countries. So this is number one. Number two, our role here is everything could be established, again, as I have stated during my presentation, through the unification of efforts. So the first thing we need to gather all the entities, so either private sector or public sectors, in addition to youth volunteers, because this is highly important, okay, in order to be capable of implementing the idea of Hayya Karima National Project in each other African state. So this is highly important. So if you're going to talk about the willingness of the government itself, they are willing 100%, as it is based upon His Excellency's recommendation. While if you're going to talk how this could be established, first of all, you need to be a participant within the project here, and then start spreading the idea with the unification of all efforts, so in international entities, and this is highly important, by the way, because through such unification, each entity has a very important input, whether it's a financial input or whether it is a tangible aspect like a technical support or the know-how. So all of those things are highly important in order to achieve the concept of Hayya Karima National Project in other African states. And for your participation, definitely it will be our honor to have you all with us and participate during all the initiatives that are being established on ground. Thank you.
Yeah, what I would like to ask is, the project is a national project, which is meant for Egyptian. Okay, I'm saying that the project is mainly for Egyptian, which is a national project. So I wanted to know, are you planning to extend national project to international project such that you involve all other nationalities, or you still have the same concept as national project? Otherwise, I would like also to know whether you have a planning to also involve other nationalities, like students who are here with you, with your objective. So this is what I need you to clarify.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for this beautiful initiative. Indeed, Hayya Karima, in simple, it means eradication of poverty. If not in Egypt, maybe all of Africa. So my question is going to be this way, like, what could be some of the initiatives that Egypt set forth to extend or to transmit this initiative to some part of Africa that are under turmoil, such as those countries that are under political crisis, and they might be in severe poverty. So what could be some of these initiatives that Egypt set forth to help improve the life of those civilians? Yes.
Okay, so I would like your ideas concerning this part, because each one of you here is sharing their own experience from their country and having the real requirement of their own nation state, stating that, for instance, based upon your own personal preference, you could actually give me and tell me what kind are the top priorities requirements for basic essential needs in order to have a better life in your country. So I need you to tell me that, because first of all, those points that have been tackled are generic points. What do I mean by generic points? There are basic requirements in all over the world. I cannot say that any country, they do not require better education, nor less healthcare system. Everybody needs that. Everybody needs better education and healthcare systems. So the point here is that each country has its own priority and it has its own requirement. And this cannot be established without your youthful ideas, as they have also stated that you are the core of innovation, which is highly important, and through your ideas and your recommendations, plus your research papers, you can help us have a better image or understanding to your country's requirement, and based upon it, we can do some sort of seminars or workshops to come up with how could we actually formulate a different shape. It doesn't have to be exactly different, but I'm meaning that how could we tailor Hayya Karima National Project in order to fit in your country? So it's like tailoring the project to fit in each country in Africa based upon its main priorities and requirements, and also take into consideration the economic, political, and social conditions of the country. Because we have been taught by His Excellency the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. By the way, we have been honored to sit with him from Hayya Karima Foundation. He has been capable of advising and guiding us that we need to be realistic. So instead of being extremely ambitious, take into consideration the economic conditions. How could we actually implement that, and how could we make it real? So I know ambition, it's one of the most important traits in youth, but realism is highly important as well if you really want your dreams to come true. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm actually aware of this project because I did a project in it in like last year, because I'm a student in Faculty of Agriculture, Alexandria University. Faculty of Agriculture, Alexandria University. So we did a project about it last year. I'm aware of everything about Hayya Karim. So if you are you going to spread the idea to other Africans? Or are you actually going to finance it? Because it took Egypt like $1 billion to implement this project. It needs a lot of financial support from your government. Yeah, it took financial support from your government to implement it in your villages. So if you are going to implement it in other African countries, are you, like the way you said it, you want to spread it to other countries, are you going to spread the idea, or you are going to finance it and implement it there? So that is what I want to know. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. First of all, spreading the idea, it's just the beginning. And I want to tell you something. At the beginning, Hayya Karima National Project, it was just an idea. But by selling the right idea and the realistic idea, you can get the financial support from all the unification of efforts, starting from state institutions, NGOs, everyone, even private and public sectors, and local and international partners as well. So, first of all, in order to get any finance to any idea, it needs to be perfectly formulated. And this is why this cannot be established unless each one of you here formulate a group from the same country Start applying the whole concept. Now you understand High Karima National Project. So you can take this as an example or as a reference, and based upon it, you're going to state what are the priorities or the basic essential needs your country actually need. And from your own perspective and your own vision, you can actually state this through an agenda or a strategic plan. And by our support and our help, we can, after that, start spreading the whole thing in order to get financial support globally. So first, the idea, it has to be realistic, okay, and real. Real, it's highly important, so that's why it has to be realistic. And what I mean realistic is like not saying that we are going to eradicate poverty and that's it. So how can you eradicate poverty? And if I'm going to eradicate poverty, I need to change people's mindset, because I might give you a service, but you don't know how to use it. So it's not going to be sustainable. So the whole concept here is that you need to take into account the cultural awareness campaigns. Because first of all, at the beginning, High Karima National Project, there was a misconception that the project itself, it's mainly revolving the infrastructure requirements. And no, that's not everything at all. One of the most important aspects is the economic empowering and the cultural awareness campaigns. People need a job, needs to get paid, they need food, okay? And they also need to change their mindset. And then comes the infrastructure development. And this is highly essential. So you need to take those points into account and into consideration, and based your own vision and your own experience in general concerning your state, we can actually formulate workshops and groups and come up with ideas. And how could we actually turn those ideas into real project in your country, and based upon it, we can get funds from the local international partners. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you again. And I just want to know, the project is just 4 years old. And when is it intended to extend its services to other African countries? So when is it intended? That's my question.
Well, we need to start now, by the way. So this is a highly important aspect. I want to tell you, like, all the African countries are highly important and priority, okay, to us. So this is number one, because we are living in the same boat, and we need to understand this. When your country, it prospers, it will have a positive impact on my country. And my country, when it prospers, it's also going to have a positive impact on the country beside it. So let's consider us, all of us are from the same neighborhood. So this is highly important. We need to start now, because as you can see, the economic conditions globally, the climate change, all of the challenges that are being faced globally, it needs that type of unification. And we need to start, all of us as African states, we need to unify together to have a better continent. That's it.
Yeah, I would like to appreciate the initiative that has been just established 4 years back. It is a good idea, and I think it has contributed a positive impact on the Egyptian society. To go to the point, I would just like to ask one question about what you have just explained, that you are planning to extend it to other African countries. I appreciate that initiative, but we know that we Africans have different social, political structure. And I know for any humanitarian aid or any program to come into effect, we need first to get solution to political situation or political structure of any country. The idea came into effect because the Egyptian government contributed a lot and has cooperated to make it true. But to other African countries, we who come from different African countries, we face so many different political situation there, and if the government of the country is not willing or is not cooperating to achieve the national project, it cannot come into effect. So, as one of the director of Higher Karima, what's planned what's plans, so that you can break through the political crisis or the culture or the social circumstances that you may face. Because without that, or without putting it into healthier plans, every program has barrier to entry. Like you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that you have like 36,000 volunteers in Egypt, right? 36,000 volunteers. Yeah. I know if people have not understood about the objectives or the plans about higher cream, then you may even lack to have volunteers that may work with you to achieve the goals. Going to the point, how will you break through the political situations that may act as the barrier to entry? Like some of the African countries are now, maybe they might have communal conflicts or tribal conflicts, and if the government is not cooperating, the initiative may not come into effect. So how do you plan to break through this?
I want to tell you something. Have you heard about the bottom-up approach? It's a kind of approach that starts from the bottom until it goes up, as from its name. What does that mean? It has to start from the people, not from the government. If the government, they are not the ones who are going to support you, at that point you have to start from the bottom. And this is highly important. And I want to tell you something. We might be lucky because the government is supporting us in formulating such initiative, and also His Excellency is empowering youth to be a part in this evolution and development. In other states, it might not be like that. So at that case, we need to have and to adopt the bottom-up approach. At that point, what we need here is that we have to apply a gradual way of development. What does it mean by gradual? It cannot be dramatic, because it's, at the beginning, it's not going to be accepted. But you need to start. That's the whole concept here. Because everything, it has its own beginning. And at that point, you need to start small and little, and you start growing and spreading the idea until it gets accepted. All of those companies that you have actually presented during your presentation, they all at the beginning, those ideas were rejected. Most of those companies, some of those companies, they haven't been accepted in the market at the beginning. And the funders, by the way, they thought this is like an insane ideas that are not realistic. And that's what we need to do, is to have a hope and start working on it. So it's all based upon your own plan, your own agenda. And you as youth have the most powerful impact, by the way. And as you have stated during your presentation, youth are Africa actually has the highest percentage of youth. So you are the greatest number, more than the government. So you have the most impactful impact, okay, on the ground, more than the government here. I know that there are things that you cannot do it alone by yourself, but at least you should give it a try. And you should try in a small idea, and then try to spread it all over. And even if you failed once, twice, or even more than that, but you might reach one day. So that's the whole thing. It's all revolving around hope and adopting the concept of the bottom-up approach, since if you are not going to get support from the upper hierarchy, so at that point, you also need to start by yourself. You, group of people, group of youth, having an idea, believing in it, and keep fighting for your idea. And by the way, us as Hayya Karima Foundation, we have been formulated at the beginning as an idea. We were 5 girls, began participating in the project. We have been given the opportunity to represent in front of His Excellency, the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. And afterwards, we have now reached 36,000 volunteers all around Egypt. So it began by idea, by 5 persons. And now look where we have reached. So that's the whole concept. Always have hope, have a realistic agenda and plan, and start from the bottom-up approach, and never wait for any help and support externally. It has to come from you, from within. This is the most important part. Thank you.
the women. And here I would like to highlight the role of the women, how 5 girls have started, and then we have reached 36,000. So the role, the women empowerment, how it is. Well, let me introduce Dr. Professor Ahmed Zaid. He's the director of the Library of Alexandria. We are very happy today to have him among us today.
صباح الخير. أنا أتكلم بالعربي شوية وبعدين أتكلم بالإنجليزي شوية. بنرحب بيكم في مكتبة الإسكندرية. مكتبة الإسكندرية دائما مفتوحة لكل الطلبة والمواطنين الأفارقة من كل دول إفريقيا. أنا بحيي كل الجهود اللي بتبذلها الدكتورة مروة الوكيل في البرنامج الخاص بالصفوة الإفريقية. الصفوة الأفارقة. برنامج الصفوة الأفارقة. وإحنا بنتصور دائما إنه العلاقة بين مصر وإفريقيا هي علاقة استراتيجية. مصر هي جزء من إفريقيا وإحنا بنعتز بهذه الدائرة من العلاقات. مصر ليها علاقات استراتيجية مع معظم الدول الإفريقية وكل الدول الإفريقية، وإحنا دائما بندعم هذه العلاقات. الثقافة هي جزء كبير، تشكل جزء كبير من يعني هذه العلاقة. ومكتبة الإسكندرية دائما بتعمل في الجانب الأكاديمي والجانب الثقافي، وإحنا بنتصور إنه دعم العلاقات الثقافية ودعم الروابط الثقافية بين دول إفريقيا وبين مصر هي يعني البداية نحو تكوين مستقبل أفضل لهذه العلاقات، لأنه كلما كانت العلاقات فيها متكاملة، يعني فيها جوانب اقتصادية، فيها جوانب سياسية، فيها جوانب ثقافية، كلما كانت علاقات مثمرة وعلاقات قوية. يعني if I have to speak in English, I will take this opportunity to welcome you all in Bibliotheca Alexandrina. And to first of all, I have to thank my colleagues here, Marwa and all my colleagues, for the marvelous effort that is going in Bibliotheca Alexandrina to strengthen this kind of relations between Africa and Egypt. Through this program, which is emphasizing on the role of African students who are studying in Egyptian universities, and those students are we look at them or consider them as the elites of their countries, and we are looking to the future. They will play an important role in their countries afterwards. And in this relation with African societies, Egypt is doing well and emphasizing the cultural aspect of this relation, because as you know, the scientific aspects, the academic aspects, the cultural aspects are very important, because economy also is important, politics also is important, but culture also is important. And if we build on culture in the future, I think the relation between our countries and Africa would be better in the future. And Egypt always open all the doors in all cultural spheres to our African students. And when I last year I wrote an article in the famous newspaper of Al-Ahram asking our country to emphasize this kind of relation with Africa. And even in this article I suggested some policies for having a sort of awards and grants to the African students. and to each university should have a number of African students. And when I came to the Polytechnic Alexandrina as a director, I found that this program is satisfying my suggestion and satisfying the words that I wrote in my article in Ahram. And I encourage this program, and I do my best with the government, with my colleagues in the Polytechnic Alexandrina to get better fruits, better results for this program. And we will meet again, inshallah, in the big event for the graduation of African students, which we had last year or 4 months ago. We had this event, and I think this year also we will have the same events. I thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy a nice time in Polytechnic Alexandrina, and I encourage all of you to go through the library. Did they go?
After the session.
After the session, you have to look at the library, because the library is a big, very big institution, very big organization. It is an international organization. It is on the scientific, cultural level. It is an international organization. It has a lot of activities, a lot of departments, and I think you have to read something about Polytechnic Alexandrina, and also to see the departments and the museums and the hall of reading, which is the largest in the world. I think we have a very big hall on about 10 floors with 1 ceilings, a very big hall. Polytechnic Alexandrina also had a sort of cooperation with the Egyptian universities, with what we call the knowledge of the Embassy of Knowledge, Sifarat al-Ma'rifa. Embassy of Knowledge. We have in each university an embassy, which is a sort of a place in which we can access the library through computers and watch all the events in the library, can have access to all the books and all the stores in the library. I think I have to, since you are studying in Egyptian universities, you have to use those embassies in your research. And please ask, if you are in Alexandria University or Cairo University or Tanta University or any university in Egypt, you will find this place, which is related, connected very well with the Polytechnic Alexandrina, and you can access the whole services of the Polytechnic Alexandrina through this embassy. So please, I ask you to use this facility just to be in the library, but you are away, but you are in the library within, since you are in the embassy, in the knowledge embassy. I don't want to talk too much. Thank you very much, Marwa. Thank you very much to all of you, and inshallah we will meet again in the summer to have your graduation or the graduation of the. Thank you very much.
اسمح لي بس اقول كلمه. اتفضلي دكتور. انا دكتوره مروه الوكيل، رئيس قطاع البحث الاكاديمي في مكتبه اسكندريه. بمناسبه الحديث عن سفارات المعرفه الخاصه بمكتبه اسكندريه قطاع التواصل الثقافي، كان لسه الزملاء دكتوره ريهام واستاذه بونسي كانوا هناك، وكان في ورشه لبعض منكم عن الكوميونيكيشن ان سستينبل ديفلوبمنت. فالحقيقه دي فاسيلتي احنا بنقدر نستخدمها وتفيدكم. انا مش هطيل على حضراتكم، انا حابه انتهز الفرصه ان انا اشكر حضرتك لدعمك لهذا البرنامج وهذا النشاط. والحقيقه انه ده كان دعم من بدايه تولي دكتور زايد المنصب. اول حاجه طلبها مني في اول جلسه جلست معاه فيها كرئيس قطاع البحث الاكاديمي هو الاهتمام بالبعد الافريقي والشباب الافارقه ودعوتهم للمكتبه. وبالتالي كان اول حدث يخص القطاع، برغم ان القطاع فيه 9 مراكز، الا انه اول حدث حصل والدكتور شرفنا بافتتاحه كان الاحتفاليه لتخرج الشباب الافارقه. والحقيقه احنا بنشتغل، والزملاء وعددهم صغير جدا بس بيشتغلوا باخلاص شديد ان هم يخدموكم، وان تكون المكتبه طول الوقت منصه انتوا تقدروا تعبروا فيها عن افكاركم ورؤاكم وتستفيدوا اكبر استفاده. وفي الاطار ده احنا بنتشارك مع كثير من الشركاء، وانا بحب اشكر استاذه شانا مسعود على تواجدها ممثله عن حياه كريمه، واستاذه طبعا آية عمر اللي استجابت لدعوتنا ان يبقى في نوع من انواع التشارك والتعاون ما بين المكتبه وما بين حياه كريمه، خاصه في ظل اطلاق الرئيس مبادره حياه كريمه في افريقيا. فاحنا بنحاول نقدم لكم كل ما يخدمكم، وتعرفوا كل ده من مكتبه اسكندريه، يبقى مكتبه اسكندريه البيت الحاضن لحضراتكم. once more we'd like to welcome you, and I would like to thank BA Director Professor Ahmed Abdallah Zayed for his support of this program as well as these types of activities. Since the start of his appointment as the Director of the Library of Alexandria, the first request he requested that you'd be hosted here at the library and that we support African youth. And this is actually what we did. One of the first events that have been done here. Although the academic research sector is a very big sector with 9 departments, the first event that was inaugurated by Dr. Zayed in September was your celebration. As I said, the library is a platform for you to inhale from it and to benefit from it, to build your capacities and to get to know other opportunities, not only the opportunities that the library does. In that respect, I would like to thank Ms. Shana Masoud from Haya Karima Initiative, who has responded to our request of collaboration and to introduce to you the initiative that has been launched by His Excellency the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, for a decent life in Africa, or Haya Karima in Africa. I thank you very much, and I thank again Professor Zaid for all his support, and I would like to thank my colleagues at the library and at the academic research sector for being here and for the presentation that are presented today about scripts and our history and the common history of Egypt and Africa through Dr. Azzawad, as well as entrepreneurship and things that has to do with business and so on with our colleague Rania, as well as sustainable development. And last week was with Ponce about communication at the Embassies of Knowledge. Thank you all, my dear colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zayed. Thank you, Dr. Marwa. And thanks for your presence. We can have one more questions for Mrs. Shama if you want. And Mrs. Shama, please, if anyone wants to contact you, you have promised to send a website or something,
So we will be sharing with the Library of Alexandria a website so that you can actually apply or register upon it for accepting volunteers. And it would be our honor that all of you would be sharing your ideas and your experience with us in Haya Karima National Project and to be a part of the initiatives that are being established on ground. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Shama? Because thank you for your information, for your session. It was very rich, and you have done a great job. And I'm really impressed by that. Five girls have started such initiative, and how and where it has been arrived now, and it has reached from 5 girls to 36,000 volunteers. Yes, this is amazing. So you can see how is the role of the women, how rules can, of course, youth and especially women can change the world. Okay. So thank you, Ms. Shama. And now we have our third session. It is, let me introduce Mrs. Rania Nofel, Senior Programs and Activity Coordinator at the Women's Studies and Social Transformation Program. She's going to continue our day by presentation about analysis of business environment, job opportunity exploration. The floor is yours, Mrs. Rania.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Rania Nofal. I work here at the library as a senior programs and activities coordinator at the Women's Studies and Social Transformation Program under the academic research sector of the Library of Alexandria. I'm here. I'm very glad to be here with you today, and I hope you will enjoy this session. Okay, when I first been approached to give and to deliver this session today, I was a bit confused what to offer you today, and wanted to provide you with topics that will make the most valuable, the most value, and will provide the most value of your time. So I consider giving you a glimpse about the main macroeconomic trends and business trends that will affect businesses and individuals in the coming few years, and give you some advice for those of you who would like to open their own new business. And we are going to explore some job and learning opportunities. So let me first start with asking you if the idea of starting a new business, did it ever cross your mind? Yes. Would you like to share the ideas with us? Who would like to share his business idea?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I always think of better change in my country. And by opening my business, I have a lot of things here which is not in my country. Which lead that if I have a chance of doing business, I can open some things that are not in my country, and it can help my country, and it can develop my country. But the thing is that the financial and how to start and how to confuse the people, so these are the things.
Anyone? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Rihanna. The idea of opening a business, a person can say that first idea is a security. Security is very important when you are assessing to open a business. You have to measure a security in your own country. Number two also, we can talk about the capital, how to start a business. If there's no capital, you cannot start a business. So capital is very important. And thank you very much for this chance.
Thank you for the opportunity. My business idea is to open like where we can, I don't know how to call it, but no, okay, like back in my country, we are known for being pastoralists, like rearing cows, cattle, and all that. So I was thinking when I go back to my homeland, I start a business having a butchery and having importing cows from outside, like crossbreeding, so that we can have local, like providing milk locally instead of importing from the neighboring countries. So that was my business idea, but I'm still working on it.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Bola Kesh. I'm actually a nurse. I'm not a businessman, but I think I have ideas of business. Yeah, I've always have ideas of business in my mind. Some are even my secrets, but I'm going to tell. while I've been living in Egypt here, I've seen a lot of things that are so much useful to the Egyptian people that for us in our country, we don't even mind about them. The example is ketkede. You call it ketkede. That one in my country is like, it grows and get spoiled by itself. No one mind about it. But as I was in Egypt here, I've seen it. It can give me a lot of money. So it's one of the things that I'm going to do. No one is going to steal it from here. So it was my secret. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of things that we have in South Sudan that I want to import in Uganda. I mean in Egypt. So, and I believe you people we are going to consume it. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of Egyptians. So I think I will be rich in no time.
Okay, I think we all have a business idea, but we are feeling, I read a book about don't tell your business idea to anyone until you implement it. Maybe this is the reason why many people are quiet. So I have a general idea. Maybe many of you is running in their mind, specifically people coming from South Sudan. I have this thought of opening a factories which process the food or soft drink like a mango. We have plenty of mango in equatorial regions. Those who come from South Sudan, you know this. So if you know this place, there are a lot of mango, or there are plenty of mango, but we are not making use of it. If we can be able to put those into into juice, another kind, so we import it to the other countries. And don't take this idea from, let me implement it, guys.
All right, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Ward William from South Sudan. I'm a businessman for sure. Yeah, I'm a student of commerce. So this is the rich faculty, by the way. I wish all of people should join the faculty of commerce. For sure, I'm going to fight hunger in South Sudan when I'm graduated. So this is the reason. Yeah, very good question. How am I going to fight hunger in South Sudan? I'm going to open agricultural areas in which the food material will be available. I mean, food items will be available in South Sudan. And nobody will care to go and steal somebody's cattle.
Who else would like to share? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the chance. I am Ngong Atem, a student of Suez University. I'm taking medicine, not business, but I have ever planned to do some business. Actually, I did it, but I failed to succeed. And what I did was, I believed different countries have different cultures and they have different dressing styles. And what I did was, I bought some dresses from Juba, bringing them here to Egypt, thinking that South Sudanese in Egypt will be buying them. But unfortunately, dresses, women dresses, yeah, dresses for women. So I bought them from South Sudan to Egypt because there are women in South Sudanese women in Egypt here. So I was like, they will be buying them, but unfortunately, they never bought even one. So as a business woman, you'll tell me what was actually the problem. What did I miss? Yeah.
Good morning. It's evening, everyone. So, concerning the question, I think Egypt has also a good number of South Sudanese here. And for someone who has been to Egypt, I think there are a lot of business ideas that someone might have seen and maybe could be a good thing back in South Sudan. Like specifically, we have like kushari here. Maybe kushari can be a good good thing back in South Sudan. We have good number of people who have lived in Egypt. Maybe if someone took it there, can generate a lot of money. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not a businessman. I'm a medical student in Cairo University. I was once a businessman because I started with small retail business when I was in South Sudan, but it recently collapsed when I moved to Egypt. According to my business plan, in South Sudan, Egyptian people, they have this thing of recycling business, whereby you can turn something that is garbage, you turn it to something that is useful in society and should be used also. So we have a lot of things that we can turn them to something useful in our country. So I will wish with time, I will also do the same in my country to open a recycling industry in South Sudan. I think it will be helpful to us. Thank you.
أنا بشوف في اقتراحي الشخصي في كوني عايزة أبدأ بيزنس معين إني لازم أقوم بدراسة جدول. الدراسة الجدول اللي أنا هعملها بدرس فيه المكان اللي أنا عايزة أعمل فوق البيزنس والبيزنس بتاعي ده هو شنو والبيزنس ده بالنسبة للناس اللي أنا قاعدة معاهم هنا هم بالنسبة لهم سلعة أساسية ولا ثانوية ومدى احتياجهم للبيزنس ده لأنه لو عملت دراسة الجدول ده بالطريقة الصحيحة بيضمن لي يعني المشروع ده بتاعي حيستمر فترة قدر شنو وأرباحه بالنسبة لي حتكون شنو والاستفادة حتكون بالنسبة لي استفادة شخصية قدر شنو والاستفادة للمواطنين اللي في المكان اللي أنا عملت لهم البيزنس ده حيكون شنو وشكرا.
Hi everyone. My business idea, I think I generated from the needs of the people in our country because currently as our country is fighting against the cutting down of trees, so as in our country I think we are poor, so we don't actually have electricity and gas for heat energy. We use firewood. So I met a friend. We discussed about some kind of the business we can engage in by producing charcoal from charcoal. You understood? Yes. Yeah, so we'll be making charcoal using the maize shells or the shells of the groundnuts or any trash. There's a way we do it and there's a machine. We just put the things inside the machine and we produce the charcoal. So we can do that instead of cutting down the trees, which the country is now working hard to ban from those things.
Good afternoon. My name is Lucian from Ain Shams University, the Commerce faculty. My idea for the business, we are all here business, whether you are from engineering faculty or some else faculty, but all we are commerce. The way to start to make a business is a difficult way. For those who are thinking it's an easy way. Like my colleague here speak, he say he bought some clothes from South Sudan to here Egypt to sell them. But the way to start the business is a difficult way, or to analyze the business. As my colleague here said, you have to know the locations and the products for the people that place need it so that you can bring forth. The business needs a lot of effort and time to give the business so that you can be succeeded. And the same thing, the material that we can get it, you need a lot of thinking to make it. This is the way of the business. The three main things for business that it can be succeeded. The location first, and the products, and then effort from the person who want to start the business. Thank you.
السلام عليكم، مساء سعيد عليكم. وأنا سعيد بجد وفخور إني أكون في وسطكم الليلة. قلت مساء سعيد عليكم، وأنا فخور إني أكون في وسطكم الليلة. أنا اسمي جور سانتينو، بدرس كلية تجارة، قسم إدارة أعمال. أنا عندي مشروع وعملت الدراسة وحابدأ في تنفيذه بعد ما أخلص الجامعة إن شاء الله. هرجع جنوب السودان عشان أنا من دولة جنوب السودان، والمشروع بتاعي أنا حابدأ من القرية بتاعتي. هو مشروع زراعي ومشروع تربية مواشي ودواجن. أنا بتمنى إنه كلنا يعني نتبنى الفكرة دي، إنه عشان يحصل تنمية لازم نبدأ من قريتنا وبعد كده نطلع لقدام. وأنا متأكد إن المشروع ده إن شاء الله هيكون نسبة نجاحه أكبر، ونتمنى إن شاء الله نشوفه في المستقبل.
قدرات عنون يا جماعة. يلا أنا عندي يعني عن بيزنس. يعني أول حاجة أنا قدرت أعمل مشروع بتاع بيزنس. أول حاجة تعمل كوندكت ذا ماركت ريسيرش، ده أول حاجة. يعني الماركت ريسيرش شنو؟ أبوريك يعني طرق تا شنو تا opportunities عشان شنو؟ عشان ideas كده بتان into شنو successful business. ده أنت رايح حقي بتاع business.
Thank you for the opportunity again. I'm having this business idea. I don't know whether it's me considering or anyone else can pursue it, but I look at it as like it's an idea. This idea should be addressing the modification and remodeling of the beauty, like the cosmetics, the spas, agendas for the girl that are having a color rather than the Western one. I strongly believe if we try to engage pharmaceutical research in this issue, we can address and can get it right with them in the beauty that define them in other perspective, opposite to the one that is actually present, like trying to deal with those lipstick colors and all those things, like how the thing we use in the salon and all those things can be given in another direction. I think it's a better idea.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for sharing all these wonderful ideas. Okay. But let me first tell you that there are major and significant events that happened in the past few years and that had a major impact on the economic and the macroeconomic trends. One of the major and significant challenges were the economic lockdown that followed the pandemic and the outbreak of COVID-19. Because when this happened and we had a huge decline in economic activities, all governments, they increased their spending massively. And this led afterwards to an increase in inflation rate. There are some others significant events that happened during the last year. For example, the war between Russia and Ukraine. The war between Russia and Ukraine made a huge and increased prices of energy and food massively, which again caused a higher inflation rate. Why am I telling you this information? Because all what is happening around us will definitely affect our business in a way or another. It already affected many countries and all over the world, and it will definitely affect all business owners and even individuals. Right? Do you agree with this? Great. But those were the challenges. A higher inflation rate that overwhelmed consumer spending, causing unemployment rate to rise, and causing also the cost of living to rise, right? But not every crisis is solely a crisis. We do have opportunities, and every crisis generates many opportunities. After the big rise in energy costs, we had the Gulf economies who they already benefit from this increase, in this massive increase in energy prices, and their economic is booming, right? We have another bright spot, like India. India, which will overtake China in the coming year as the most populous country, will be another bright spot, supported by the discounted Russian oil. They will be having a massive prosperity in industry, and many foreign importers will be focusing on diversifying their supply chain from India, away from China. And I think we all know about the political tension between China and the West, and that's why there are many importers and foreign importers are switching and trying to import more products from India instead of China in the coming few years. But what about Africa? Do you think Africa has a better chance? What do you think? Okay, why? Excuse me? Great, great. That's one thing. What else? Natural resources like what?
We have fertile soils for agriculture, and we also have tourism, because we have so many jungles and tourist attractions where there may be scarce animals that are not elsewhere but in Africa. And we're also having human resource, like we have a lot of youth, as stated earlier, manpower. Yeah.
Okay. Like we just said, that every crisis generates a lot of opportunities, and it's the case for Africa. Egypt, for example, will make use of the higher prices of energy and will export natural gas, green hydrogen, and there is a project called the Green Corridor, which will enable Egypt and Morocco to export electricity to Europe. So again, we have Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria will benefit also from the higher energy prices and will export natural gas and oil. As our colleague just said now, that that Africa and sub-Saharan African countries, they do enjoy a massive water supply and a massive piece of green land that will enable them to make use and benefit from the current situation through investing and boosting their agriculture industry. And there is a sweet spot here. They will be able to export all their agriculture industries to Europe, since that Europe have already imposed sanctions on Russia, right? Do you see how countries manage to use all available opportunities in the current situation? Okay, this was for the countries. What about business owners and individuals? Do you think we, as normal people, as business owners, as individuals, will have the opportunity to make use of all the available opportunities in the current situation? Do you think we have a chance? Okay. Excuse me?
Yeah, sure. Since I was opposing the saying that Africa is progressing, just because we have natural resources, there is a difference between you have and the way you can use what you have. Africa is busy rebelling. There is too much rebellions in Africa. How do we progress in this position? Only Egypt, South Africa, and Nigeria, maybe, there is a little bit progressing. But the rest of Africa, 53 of them, or 52 of them are not progressing. This is because of security. Security is a problem. Everybody is busy to hide himself or herself under the tree.
So, what usually business owners and individuals do? Benefit and use and seize opportunities in the business environment. They usually do what we call a business environmental scanning. How do they do that? There are certain layers in the business environmental environment around your business. The first layer is the external environmental layer, and the second layer is the internal environmental business layer. I know that some of you are already students of business students, and I believe you've been introduced to those terms before. And I will go through these terms quickly, very quickly. The external environment of a business includes the natural environment where we will talk about the climate change, the natural resources available in the country or available in the market. A societal force, including the economic forces, the technological, political, and socio-cultural forces. All these aspects business owners and individuals should understand and analyze in order to be able to allocate possible opportunities and threats in their business environment. The task environment also is a surrounding environment that surrounds your company or your business, including suppliers, competitors, and customers. As for the internal environment, the internal business environment includes three main aspects: the structure of your organization, the chain of command inside your organization, how it will affect your business, the culture of your business, and the resources, your assets, your business assets, for example. All these factors and variables are very important for a business owner to understand and analyze in order to be able to identify weaknesses and strength points in their business. Okay, for those who would like to open their own business, let me tell you something. In order to have a business, you have to be able to determine 5 main components, because those 5 main components determine what business is. You have to be able to create a certain value and deliver something to people. Create and deliver something of value that other people want or need at a price that they are willing to pay in a way that satisfies the customer's needs and expectation. This is what business is. Business is simply a process of identifying a certain problem in the market and finding a solution and a way to solve it that benefits both parties, you as a business and the customers. This is simply what business is. But taking away any of the 5 components, you won't have a business. What are these 5 components? First, you have to discover and create something that people need or want. Second, you need to have the ability to attract attention to what you have created and to build demand for it. Third, you have to turn potential customers into paying customers who would like to pay for this service or for the value that you have created. Fourth, give your customers what you have promised and ensure they are satisfied with it. And finally, if your business is not generating income, so it's not a business, it's like a hobby or something, you have to bring enough money to keep your business going and operating. Okay, I have few precious advice for you when starting a new business. Almost 90% of new ventures and new startups fail. So let's hear, we need to know what the 10% is. First, at the beginning of starting a new business, you need to be lean. What's the meaning of being lean? Being lean is minimize your cost at the least level possible. Even if you can do zero cost at the beginning, please do. Okay, how do you do that? How to minimize cost at the beginning? You can use many available tools, free tools. If you would like to, for example, hold a meeting, you can use Zoom meeting, for example. It's a free tool and it's available everywhere. For example, you can use Google Drive to file your files, Google Sheets for accounting system. You can use Canva in order to generate graphics and videos for business. There are many free tools available online so that you can minimize your cost as much as you can. Second advice, choose your team members very wisely. All team members should have the same culture, should believe and have the same belief in your business idea. Without this, you are risking to fail your business. Third, and I think one of your colleagues just mentioned this, do a very wide and correct market research. Market research helps you understand your market segment very well. It helps you know what are you exactly offering and what is the best solution to offer this value. Market research is simply the practice of gathering information about the needs and preferences of your target audience, potential consumers of your product. The main aim of the market research is to remove subjective opinions when making business decisions. Okay. What helps you? There are 2 main tools, and I would like to explore more and to read more about them. The user empathy map, and unique selling point. These are 2 tools that you will know about more when doing the market research. What is user empathy or a user empathy map in a very simple way? It's an easy to digest diagram that helps you understand your customer. It's their attitudes, their feelings, how they think, how they do, and what they do. It simply helps you better understand your consumer. So in order to do this map, like this one, you need to do a very intensive research about your customers or your end users. This intensive research should be very reliable, and you should rely on actual data from maybe users' interviews, for example, surveys, or even direct interviews with them, face-to-face interviews and face-to-face meeting. Okay, the other tool is unique selling point. In having a business, you have to be to have what we can call your secret sauce. A unique selling point is the essence of what makes your product or service better than competitors, and it is an additional benefit your business is able to provide over your rivals charging the same price. It's something that is unique, that differentiates you and your business and your products from other competitors in the same market. So you have to work on this unique selling point. Okay. Now let me ask you a very simple question. We all are enjoying a certain resource, which is a valuable resource that is available for everyone and is given to everyone equally. Do you think what is this resource? Can anyone know? Yes? Excuse me? Time, yes, perfect. Time. Time is the most valuable resource available for everyone. Remember this very well, because consuming time wisely will help you improve yourself and your business. I know not all of us are entrepreneurs, not all of us would like to open their own businesses, but there are others who would like to work an ordinary job or have certain qualifications that helps them improve and provide services to others, like freelancers, or not all of us are entrepreneurs. So the coming advice is for all of us. Persons who would like to open their own business and persons who would like to work a certain job. Okay, what I just said, that use your time wisely through working on your self-development. Self-development is easy today. You can easily do it. There are plenty of resources available online that will help you learn a lot about what is interesting for you. You have, for example, Harvard University. They are offering many free courses. University of People, Oxford University, MIT, all these courses are available on the internet for free. Udemy, Canvas is one of the world's leading teaching websites, teaching software websites. edX includes a lot of courses, free courses, in many different topics. My second advice to you is networking. Networking here I mean by networking that surround yourself with people who have the same interest, who would like to learn more, help each other and support each other through your learning process. This is very important. Language too is very important, language skills. And also there are many online resources available for you for free to learn as many languages as you want. For example, Deutsche Welle is offering courses, German courses for free. BBC is offering English courses for free. We have an application called Google Primer that helps you learning about how to market your products. There are plenty of resources available so that you can use it in your free time. One last advice for you is the public relation and your web presence. And this is very important. Public relation here, I mean by public relation is how you speak with others, how you introduce yourself, how you introduce your business, how you get dressed, all these things are leaving a certain impression about you. So be careful and put it into your consideration that this is a very important thing. Same as the web presence. We do all have many social media accounts on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, but are we monitoring what exactly do we post, what do we comment, how all these social media accounts are representing us and reflecting our personality. This is very important, because if you are a freelancer or a business owner, you need to manage all your social media accounts in a way that reflects who you actually are, and what would you like people to see you and to see your business. Okay? One more thing I would like to share with you is there are many learning experiences and learning opportunities available around you. For example, the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, through the Sustainable Development Studies and Youth Capacity Building in African Relations Support Program, as Dr. Reham just said about all the activities and programs they are offering for you. I hope you will benefit from all these programs. The National Training Academy, it is already based in Cairo, and I think many of you heard about it. The National Training Academy is responsible for the World Youth Forum. However, they decided to implement a group of initiatives and programs with all the sponsorship proceedings which were directed to hold and organize the 5th edition of the World Youth Forum. And they decided they announced this last week, that they are going to launch a package of initiatives and programs for youth in the coming few months, instead of having the organization of the 5th World Youth Forum. Okay, and this decision came in response to the current international economic changes. The initiatives include supporting entrepreneurship and small and medium enterprises, qualifying youth for the labor market, addressing food security, providing mental health support, empowering refugees and migrants, and creating a platform for international volunteers. The National Training Academy is also responsible for the leadership program for African executives, and is the main aim of this program is to gather African youth with different affiliations to progress their development, and the program includes 6 critical knowledge areas. The 6 critical knowledge areas, including in the leadership program for African executives, are African opportunities and challenges, economic and sustainable development, women empowerment and gender equality, management and leadership skills, information technology, innovation and learning cities, and design thinking. Moreover, there are many other learning opportunities like Nasser Youth Movement. Nasser Youth Movement is also located in Cairo, and it is connecting most influential young leaders from different countries with decision makers and experts through a variety of programs and activities. One last chance of learning opportunity is the African Union Youth Volunteer. It brings young people in Africa together to share skills, knowledge, creativity, and learning to build a more integrated continent. So as you can see, there are many and plenty of learning experience that you can make use of. So welcome all experiences. You can never know which one is going to turn everything on. So go for it and go for every experience, every learning experience, and let it teach you. As my colleague Dr. Riham said a few minutes ago, that the World Economic Forum has released an update for the Futures of the Job report, and there are many new skills to learn and are indeed needed in the 2025 year. And they have already mentioned the time needed to start building your skills. There are some skills are built within from 1 to 2 months, others from 2 to 3, and other skills are built from 4 to 5 months. You can see the chart that they are all available. All the infographics of this report are available on the internet. So I advise you to go through it in order to have more information about all the available, all the new required skills in the coming few years. For people who would like to start now generating income, these ideas of online jobs, there are many and plenty of platforms where you can use your current skills to generate income immediately. There are many ideas like online tutoring, like e-marketing, social media management, using your voice to generate income through voice-over, virtual assistant, programming and apps developers, graphic designing, and you can see that there are plenty of platforms that you can use to generate income now and to practice your skills. I remember that my first time generating income was at the age of 21. The only skills I had back then was language, and I was just graduated from my college, so I had the knowledge of business. So I started giving courses to fresh, newcomers at the university for 1 year, I guess. And this was the first time I generated income. I was working on my skills and had the opportunity to do that. So I think you too, you can do that too. And you can start immediately. Thank you very much. One last thing I just want to share with you is we have lots of differences, right? Like for example, who doesn't speak Arabic in this room? All of you speak. Who doesn't speak Arabic? Okay. And who speaks Arabic and is able to teach Arabic as a foreign language? You speak Arabic and you are able to teach Arabic? Great, so you have an opportunity here, right? What I want to say is we have many differences, and these differences we can use it and make use of it, expanding our knowledge, learning, exchanging culture and ideas, and even trading and doing business, right? So try to use all the available opportunities in order to improve yourself and at one day open your own business or having your own job. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. Many thanks. We can have one question for Rania. Okay, thank you. And now we have, it is our honor to have Dr. Azza Izzat. Dr. Azza Izzat has a PhD in ancient Egyptians, calligraphy. She has a lot of researches in this field. And today it is our honor to have her presentation, Ancient Egypt and Africa. Dr. Azza is the head of section of Write and Script Center, Biblioteca Alexandrina. Please let me
Good afternoon. Are you asleep or? Okay. I'll try to simplify my presentation. But I'd like to know, is any one of you is an historian or archaeologist or even fan of Egyptology or history? Over there? Okay. Welcome to you. Okay. My presentation, I'll try to simplify it. I'm going to focus on ancient Egypt as being an Egyptologist. And I'm trying to connect between the ancient Egyptians and Africa. What will be discussed in the presentation is an introductory about Egypt's location in Africa. Why was Egypt called Black Land? And then we are going to talk about the River Nile, as it was one of the main factors of nourishment in Egypt. And then we will talk about the Egyptian-African trade, how Egyptians were portrayed foreigners in the Egyptian art, the African animals in the ancient Egyptian art, the use of ivory from elephants that were brought from Africa, the Nubians in the ancient Egyptian art, and finally, I have selected two important pharaohs that were from Kush, Africa. The first question we are going to ask, is Egypt a part of the African history? And of course, Africa's first great civilization emerged in ancient Egypt in 3400 BC. And Egypt was an ancient civilization based around the River Nile and emerged 5,000 years ago and reached its peak in the 16th century BC. Well, why it was called the Black Land? And before answering this question, I'd like to tell you that Egypt was divided into two main parts, the Lower Egypt and the Upper Egypt. And from the map, the Lower Egypt is found at the top, in the north, Nile Delta, where it drains into the Mediterranean Sea. And the Upper Egypt is near to the Sudan and Nubia. Upper Egypt, south, near Abu Simbel. Okay, why it was called the Black Land? Do you know why Egypt was called the Black Land? Okay. It was called the Black Land because it was called Kemet. Egypt was known in hieroglyphs, or the ancient Egyptian language, by Kemet. And it is written over there in hieroglyphs, okay? The first sign, this one, is Kem. And then this owl is the letter M, and this is the T, and this sign is representing a country. So this is how ancient Egyptians write Egypt in hieroglyphs, Kemet. And Kemet means black. And this is indication for the fertile soil left behind each year with the annual flooding of the Nile, because the flood of the Nile is nearly black in color. In addition to this, it was known by Deshret. Deshret is the red land. So Egypt was known by the black land and the red land due to the deserts that is full of sand that tends to be red in color. Briefly, the regions in Egypt is as follows. Starting from the southern area is Nubia, and then we have Upper Egypt, and then the River Nile, Lower Egypt, and from the west and east is the Deshret, which is the desert. The River Nile. Why the River Nile was so important for ancient Egyptians? Why? not only for ancient Egyptians, for Africa as a whole. Why the river Nile is important? Water, of course, yeah? What else? Source of life? Yes, exactly. Exactly. And of course, the water was used for irrigation, okay? And the second part is for the transportation, as we will see. We call it Nile, the river Nile. The Nile comes from the modern word Nilos, which is a Greek word that is named by the river valley. And Nilos, in Greek mythology, represents the god of the Nile River itself and was father to several children. And this is the statue of the god Nilos with his children, and it was mentioned, according to the Greek mythology, that each child is representing a branch from the river Nile. In ancient Egypt, it was called black, and this is because of the fertile land that we mentioned. Due to the importance of the river Nile, the ancient Egyptians made a god for the river Nile. And they called this god the god Hapi. The god Hapi, okay? And they called also the river Nile by the word Iteru. And this is a representation of the god Hapi, the god of the Nile, or the god of the flood. And it is representing the god trying to unify the two lands of Egypt, the upper and the lower together. He is tying the lotus and the papyrus together, which are symbolizing the two lands of Egypt. As we mentioned why the river Nile was important, it is important mainly for agriculture and also as a vital to ancient Egyptian civilization as a transportation route. First of all, the Nile irrigation. Irrigation was very important in ancient Egypt, and due to its importance, ancient Egyptians made this shadoof, it is known in Arabic by the shadoof, in order to transfer the water from the Nile to the lands, and all the paintings in the ancient Egyptian tombs have such tools that were used for irrigation. We have many scenes in ancient Egyptian tombs that represents the kind of crops that were planted in Egypt, as the wheat and barley and emmer, and different kind of crops as the lentils and so many others. In addition to this, the river Nile served as a vital transportation route, as we mentioned. In ancient Egypt, Egyptians used to put the products or whatever on their head, okay? Or they can use donkeys, or they can use stone wheels and with a sledge in order to put the products on them for transportation. Of course, the river Nile had facilitated for them the idea of making boats and large ships for transportation. And as a result, the ancient Egyptians became skilled for making the boat and ships and created large wooden craft with sails and oars capable of traveling longer distance, and smaller skiffs made of papyrus reeds attached to wooden frames. And due to that we have boats, that's why we have trade. What kind of trade that was between Egypt and Africa? Let's read this together. From this map, we can recognize the river Nile. And this river, along with the Red Sea, made the kingdom of Kush, this area, is very accessible location. And it was a meeting point of traders coming from Egypt, Europe, and the Mediterranean. The kingdom of Kush in ancient Egypt was known by Kush, or the Kushite Empire, and it was in Nubia, centered along the Nile Valley in what was now northern Sudan and southern of Egypt. The Kushites traded gold, ivory, ebony, ostrich eggs, feathers, and various animals that were not found in Egypt. And this area was known as the iron capital of ancient Africa. As for the Egyptians, in return, they offered papyrus sheets, wheat, barley, and gold as well. And this map also shows different or other places worldwide how Egyptians make their trade worldwide. There are many scenes that represent tributes that were presented to the king of Egypt. And this is a Nubian tribute presented to the king in the tomb of Rekhmira, and this tomb is found in Luxor. And from the paintings that are found in the tomb, we can see what kind of trades that were given to the king, from resins, myrrh, incense, cones in pieces or in baskets. And this is a myrrh tree carried by two men in order to be planted in Egypt. And here the Puntines brought gold, elephant tusks, ebony, ostrich eggs, leopard skins, and many other items to be presented for the king. This is another tomb of Huy. A Nubian tribute also is presenting gifts to the king, including ivory, woods, eggs, feathers, panther skins, and exotic animals. The most famous story that we want to speak about today is the story of the land of Punt. First of all, where is the land of Punt? And what is the famous expedition that was made out there? As for the location, Punt was almost certainly located in modern-day region of northwest Somalia, based on the evidence of the ancient Egyptian inscriptions. Its place can be in this area, in between Somalia, Djibouti, and Ethiopia. What is the name of the land of Punt in ancient Egypt? The land of Punt was pronounced as Punut, and it was a trading partner of Egypt. It was known for producing and exporting gold, incense, raisins, ebony, ivory, and many other products. And the land of Punt in ancient Egypt, it was referred in the ancient Egyptian texts by Ta Neter. Ta means land, Neter means God. So it is the land of the god. And the land of Punt is the abode of the gods located at the east in the direction of the sunrise. The first expedition that was done to the land of Punt in the 4th dynasty during the reign of King Khufu, who is the builder of the huge pyramid in Cairo. And the most famous expedition done to Punt of Queen Hatshepsut. Do you hear the name Hatshepsut before? She's one of the famous queens of ancient Egypt, and she made a great expedition to the land of Punt near Somalia for bringing products from there. And all the exhibition is being portrayed in her temple at Deir el-Bahari. She made a large fleet of different shapes of ships in order to travel through the Red Sea in order to reach to Somalia to bring the products back to Egypt. And here is the painting that is found in her temple. From the paintings, we found the Queen of Punt herself. She was represented as an obese queen, and she is the Queen of Punt. And in Egypt here, when we celebrate the African World Heritage Day, this Queen of Punt is symbolizing one of the important paintings in Egypt, referring to expeditions to Africa. And this relief also from the temple, and it is showing the myrrh trees and the innocents that were brought from Punt to Egypt. How Egyptians portrayed foreigners in the Egyptian art. This is very excited, I'd like to tell you. Here we can see that the ethnic identities in the land of the pharaohs can be identified in 4 ethnic groups. Here is the Egyptian, and this is the Asiatic, and here is the Nubian, and this is the Libyan. And of course, there is a very big difference between each one of them. starting with the beard, the kind of wig, the feathers, the costume itself that has been worn, the earrings and accessories, all is different. Each one has an identity. What were their names in ancient Egypt? The Egyptian is called Remeth. Remeth means human. The Asiatic referred to in ancient Egypt by Amu. The Nubian, Nahsiyu. And as for the Libyan, Temehu. And these are the hieroglyphic terms when the ancient Egyptians referred to the ethnic groups in their inscriptions. And these are different representations how ancient Egyptians referred to the Nubians with using their earrings, costumes, colorful costumes, and their features. And there are plenty of sculptures that have been discovered in Egypt representing Africans in their sculpture. And this is a bust statue of the Queen T, one of the most influential Nubian women in ancient Egypt. And she is the great royal wife of the ancient Egyptian King Amenhotep III. She was from Nubia. In addition to this, the African military in ancient Egyptian sculpture appeared in this wooden figure. It is found in the tomb of Mesehti, and it dates back to the 11th dynasty. It is representing 40 wooden Nubian figures walking in 4 rows with short kilts decorated in red, yellow, and green, and each figure is carved in a unique appearance and carries a bow in one hand and arrows in the other, and they are barefooted. Also, the paintings from Egyptian tombs, it represented the Nubians as ambassadors that they are coming to visit the king for making mutual cooperation, economic, social, political kind of cooperation between the two lands. In addition to this, Egypt exported different kinds of animals, and this appeared in the paintings of the Egyptian tombs as the giraffes. And this is a painting from the tomb of Rekhmira, and it's a humorous one because you can see here a baboon or a monkey is climbing on the neck of the giraffe. The leopards and the baboons as well, these were important animals that were exported from Africa. The elephants as well, we don't have too much paintings about elephants, maybe the ivory. But the elephant itself, very rare paintings for elephants. This is one, and this is another two. This is a hieroglyphic sign. It's not a huge scene. This is just a hieroglyphic sign, and it is found on the exterior wall of the Temple of Dendara, Egypt. And of course, the crocodiles, and this is because of the river Nile. And due to its importance, the ancient Egyptians make a god for the crocodile that is found in the river Nile, and he called it Sobek. So Sobek is the crocodile god of the river Nile, and it can be identified in 2 figures. It can be identified as a human that has a head of a crocodile, or a full body and figure of a crocodile. The use of ivory in ancient Egyptian sculpture. Ancient Egyptian ivory used for carving came from the tusks of the elephants and the hippopotami. And elephants disappeared from Egypt from very early times. That's why the ivory was imported from Nubia. What we did with the tusks? These are the tusks of the elephants in the tomb paintings. You can find them that hold on the shoulders. Okay? We make for them the labels. And what are these labels? These labels are just like nowadays, if you want to post news, so you will post it on your Facebook page, right? Okay. Or in a newspaper, okay? But in ancient Egypt, they don't have Facebook or social media or newspapers, and these kind of labels were just like a newspaper for them in order to announce an important event that you want to share with
public. These small labels were made up from ivory. Also, the combs, spoons, and jewelry boxes were made out of ivory. The clappers, they used to make clappers for the goddesses in their celebrations that made from ivory, and statues, and the head rest. This is a head rest for the queens. Ivory was also used for the eyes of these statues. You can see here around the pupil, and also in amulets. About African pharaohs and kings in Egypt in the 8th century, the Kushite rulers were crowned as kings of Egypt, ruling a combined Nubian and Egyptian kingdom as pharaohs of the Egypt's 25th dynasty. Those Kushite kings are commonly referred to the Black Pharaohs in both scholarly and popular publications. The period of the Kushite domination coincides with the time of new vitality in the Egyptian art, and we have many statues are representing the Kushite kings who ruled Egypt starting from the 25th dynasty. I have selected two important Kushite kings, King Pi or King Pi-Ankhi, and he came from the 25th dynasty from Kush, that is presently in northern Sudan, and Pi personally made an attack to Egypt and recorded his victory in this stela that is called the Stela of Victory. And this is the second king that I have chosen. He is the King Taharka from Kush, and he was one of the Kushite pharaohs who ruled over Egypt for nearly a century. Culture and religious influence. Nowadays, we have seen the pyramids in Sudan. And these Nubian pyramids were built by the rulers of the ancient Kushite kingdoms. And this shows the influence between Egypt and Africa. The area of the Nile Valley known as Nubia was the site of 3 Kushite kingdoms during antiquity. From this map, we can see Kerma and Napata and Meroe. And the pyramids that were built there were made from granite and sandstone. But they were quite different from the ancient Egyptian pyramids. They were smaller in size, the bays were no broader than 8 meters, they were very steep and rather elongated. There is another influence that appeared, which is the Meroitic language. Even in languages, there is a kind of influence between ancient Egypt and Nubia. The Meroitic language was spoken in Meroe during the Meroitic period and became extinct about 400 CE. The people of Meroe at first used the Egyptian hieroglyphs, and the Meroitic inscriptions were found in different places in Egypt, in Elephantine, in Phila, and Kalabsha. And this is the Phila Island, the temple of Phila that is found in Aswan. We found Meroitic inscriptions. In the Mamizi in ancient Egypt is the place where the goddess gave birth. So we found Meroitic inscriptions inside the temple. The largest ones of these inscriptions is found in Phila Island. On the gate of Hadrian, we found these 2 inscriptions, and this shows that there were a great number of pilgrims from Ethiopia to the temple of Phila. And concerning the great inscription, it is found in the temple of Kalabsha, and it belongs to the king Kharamidi, and this text was regarded as a late Meroitic text. And also this plaque shows the kind of influence of ancient Egypt and Africa. As you have seen here, this is a Meroitic plaque, but it is representing here the king as an Egyptian king with the ram head earrings and the Egyptian crown and the scepter in his hand. And all these are features of ancient Egypt. Yet the inscriptions that are written on the plaque is Meroitic. And as a conclusion, I'd like to focus that Egypt and Africa are strongly connected long years ago. And Egypt's location in the northeast of Africa makes it Africa's gate to Asia, Europe, and North and South America. Since the dawn of history, the pharaonic Egypt has sought to activate relations with other nearby African kingdoms. Kush and Egypt had a strong existence in ancient history. Their existence shared the common identity in terms of economic, political, and strategic relations. And finally, Nubia and ancient Egypt had periods of both peace and war. It is believed, based on rock art, the Nubian rulers and early Egyptian pharaohs used similar royal symbols. There was often peaceful cultural exchange and cooperation, and marriages between the two did occur. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Azza, for your very rich presentation, very rich lecture. If you can have one question for the time, one question, and then Dr. Azza has left her email, so anyone can contact her, and I know that she will be more than happy to take your questions and your comments. So one, please. I'm sorry because of the time. So choose, Dr. Azza. You have many hands. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think before I ask my question, one question is not enough because all of us will want to ask a question. Yeah, I understand, because we are the one who are much tired than you, I think. Yeah. So I would like to request that my friends also have a chance, at least 3 questions. Okay, my first question is that, what is the difference between Africa and Egypt? Because you are talking that there is connection between Africa and Egypt. But according to my knowledge and understanding, Egypt and Africa has always been one from creation up to now. By boundaries, by land, the land is within Africa. Everything is in Africa. So what is the difference? Why do you keep saying that Africa and Egypt? To look like as if Egypt is somewhere else. That's the question. Another thing is objection. I have objection in the history. The whole presentation, according to me, is like a makeup. I have not made my own research. It's okay. I have not made my own research. But according to the histories that I know, because I come from a village, before I reached to Egypt, they always tell us stories. You know, stories to us in Africa, or as you claim, stories are told by generation to generation. Like our great-grandfathers, they had their history that they passed to their fathers. Okay. What? Okay.
There is no difference between Egypt and Africa, of course, and the presentation is focusing on the relations between Egypt, ancient Egypt, and the neighbors surrounding Egypt from ancient times. This relation comes from the River Nile, the trades that were in between, the tributes and the visitors and the neighbors that were visiting Egypt and so on. So there is no difference. We are in one continent, and Egypt is a part of Africa. And here we are focusing on the relations between Egypt and Africa, and not the differentiation between the two. Okay?
Okay, since we are time bad, because we don't have time, I will look for you and we argue, me and you, so that I teach you the history and you teach me the history.
All right, thank you for the last chance. Okay, thank you. I went through the biblical scripture, that is Genesis chapter 10. Then Egypt is a name of person, Cush is a name of person. Both of them, I went through biblical history. That is the Bible. Cush and Egypt are children of Em, son of Nah. Okay? Right now, you did not tell us where Egypt come from. Egypt and Kush were son of Shem, of Ems, son of Em, son of Naha. Okay?
That's the Bible, they are not long Bible.
Kindly send your email to Dr. Azza. I think that when it is written, it will be more efficient. Okay? Okay. So if you have any questions, please write it, because I think that the name of the ancient Egyptian and ancient African, it is very hard to be taken. So please type them and send email to Dr. Azza. I'm sure that she's going to reply to all her emails. I know her very well, okay? Now we are running out of our time. So please, you have the survey about sustainable development. Please, you have 3 minutes to fill it, and then you are going to be divided to go to the BE tour. So please, if you have finished it, just deliver it to any of the girls. You have 2 minutes, and then you are going, please be here in the hall, because we are going to be divided in small groups for the BE tour. Please, there is an announcement. Come on.
Thank you for the opportunity. I come for an announcement. I did not come for any presentation. So I want to announce on behalf of the team and on my own behalf, the way we came here, we came through registrations and collecting some commitment from some of the members. On behalf of the student of Enshams University, I reaffirm your commitment, and in the process of submitting your names, I made some collection of which some of you might have known me and I don't know some of you. So this is me, and we promise to return. There is what is called returnable commitment fee. So when we get our letter, you might be in different buses. If you have anything to do with me, find me to come and get that. It may give you water or anything else. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your usual efforts. Thank you. So, if you have finished, now I wish that first I would like to thank you all for coming and for having this trip despite these very bad weather conditions. Thank you for participating with us. Thank you for your active participation during the day, either as questions, as comments, as even filling the survey. Thanks for your efforts. I wish that it was a fruitful day for you. It was a fruitful day, so I'm very happy that it was a fruitful day for you.